Hey guys, I've got a great question. For anyone that knows, I have been gluten free, or I haven't eaten any gluten or gluten food in about 15 years. Just to give you a bit of a backstory, when I was about 10 or 11, I lost a load of weight, and I kept getting sick every time I ate. So every time I ate, I used to throw my food back up, and I wasn't able to put on any weight, and I had no energy. I got really skeletally skinny. And basically what they found out was just my body didn't tolerate gluten. So I was eating a lot of bread, cereals, things like that. And I cut it from about the age of 12 or 13, and I haven't touched it since. And again, anyone that looks back on photos of me from when I was a 15, 16-year-old, I was a pretty big kid. I was quite athletic, and obviously cutting the gluten from my diet made my body much more reactive to the foods that I was eating. And obviously it made me way more interested in nutrition. That's why I've got probably a good base for nutritional knowledge now, because it's set in me from an early age. Basically, anyone that doesn't know, if you're celiac or gluten intolerant, it basically means celiac's like the advanced version. It's basically where your body it has an autoimmune response where your basically your intestines will fight the gluten that's coming in. And gluten intolerance then is where it makes you sick. Celiac people can get really ill from it. So basically, there's a difference between celiac and gluten intolerance. Gluten intolerance just means that it makes you bloated and sick. The celiac can get really sick from it. So the question is, can you build muscle and lose body fat on a gluten-free diet or as a celiac? The answer is yes, of course you can. I can't say too much yet, but there's an exciting project. I'm going to LA in 3 weeks now to work with one of the leading health industry professionals over there. She massively specializes in gut health. It's why I've been so fortunate to kind of get in on it, because anyone that knows I have quite a sensitive stomach, and I'm going a long way towards healing that now, which is actually massively speeding up my muscle growth and my body's ability to use fat as its main fuel source, because I don't have as much gut issues. So I'll have more about that in the next coming weeks, and hopefully we can put our program together when I'm in LA. But I won't say too much more on that. But for gluten-free, the foods that are going to support you grow and lose body fat, ironically, are the foods that support anyone that doesn't have a gluten intolerance or celiac disease. You can gain muscle. Is basically you're trying to put on size. She's a girl who's trying to put on some lean muscle and obviously keep her body fat low. It's calories in and calories out first and foremost. It doesn't matter where your calories are coming from largely. If you're eating too many calories, you're going to put on weight. If you're not eating enough, you're going to lose weight. It's the timings of macros and things then that are going to have a reflection on your body composition and how you actually look. So that's why I'm so big on timing macros, and when you time your carbohydrates and time your fats, because they're the things that have a direct link on body composition and how you look, because it directly affects your metabolism. So the foods you should be using, ironically, the question is, she's been struggling to build muscle. You get your nutrition perfect and on point, because the foods that you're going to be using are foods that are going to support you massively, because they're gluten-free. You're not eating the processed crap that a lot of people have to try and cut out of their diet. Basically, processed foods are, things that are microwavable stuff. They make the gluten-free. Don't get caught with this gluten-free fad. And people go in. This blows my mind. In Dunn's and Tesco's and these shops where you go in and there's gluten-free sections, and they're basically marketing it as, oh yeah, gluten-free alternative. It's fucking bullshit. Just because it's a gluten-free cake, it's still fucking cake. It doesn't matter if it's gluten-free or not. Your calories are still bad. There's still loads of fat and sugar in it. If anything, they're actually probably a little bit worse, because they actually feed more sugar in it, because they've taken out some of the wheat flour. So don't get fooled by the fact that gluten-free means healthy, because it doesn't. However, gluten-free foods that occur naturally, like sweet potatoes, brown rice, some types of porridge. Porridge is a funny one. Oats by their nature are gluten-free, but what happens is you can't re-sow oats in fields one time after the other. So basically what happens with oats that have gluten in them is that there's been wheat or barley sowed in that field, and then they've sowed oats after it, so there's a little bit of cross-contamination. Oats by their nature, are gluten-free. It's the fields in which they're processed is going to decide whether they've got gluten in them or not. So as I said, the naturally occurring foods, meats, fish, all of these things that are massive on a healthy lifestyle and supporting someone in their quest for a better physique. We're going to support you regardless of whether you're celiac or gluten-free. The only mistake you need to make sure is do not go down a fucking gluten-free aisle and think when you're picking up gluten-free versions of food that they're better. They have made an absolute fortune from marketing gluten-free as a healthy alternative lifestyle when the reality is it's not. If you live a healthy lifestyle, the foods you eat will naturally be gluten-free. That's just a byproduct of eating well. Living a gluten-free life eating a gluten-free, having a gluten-free lifestyle where you're just replacing your normal cakes and biscuits and things like that with gluten-free ones, it's not going to have any support. You're just basically eating biscuits and cake that don't have any wheat flour or gluten in them. So make sure your foods are healthy choices. Stick with whole grains. You're trying to put on size. Make sure your carbohydrate intake is high enough that you're supporting your training, that your glycogen stores are constantly full. If body fat's not a priority, make sure your calories are high enough. Make sure your fats are supporting your calorie makeup. Obviously, you get 9 kilocalories per 1 gram of fat, where you get only 4 kilocalories for 1 gram of carbohydrate. You're getting double. You need to eat literally half the amount of fat to get the same calories as doubling up on a carbohydrate. So if calories are an issue, make sure your fats are high enough. So keep your protein high, keep your foods clean, keep your carbohydrates high enough that your glycogen stores are full so that your training doesn't suffer, and make sure your fats are high enough that you're in a calorie surplus and that you have enough fuel to grow. So I hope this helps. If you're eating a gluten-free diet and you didn't realize that this was happening and it's a massive marketing scam, then there you go. You're welcome.